This is every other open world RPG. And this is Hogwarts Legacy. Open world RPGs offer players the chance to fully immerse themselves in vast and detailed worlds, with freedom to explore, make choices, and shape their own adventures, with titles like Elden Ring, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and now Hogwarts Legacy. But how does Hogwarts Legacy stand against all of these games? Is it just a good Harry Potter game, or does it actually hold up as a solid open world RPG? Today we're gonna find that out by comparing these games in a set of 10 categories, where we'll look at their similarities, differences, and identify what is so unique about Hogwarts Legacy. Of course, all of these games have open worlds with massive maps. When comparing the sizes, Elden Ring would come as the biggest map out of these games, and Hogwarts Legacy would be on the opposite side of the scale, which is surprising to see in 2023, though what's important is how these maps are filled with interesting environments, enemies, and overall things to do, and Hogwarts Legacy shares some similarities in different environments. The open fields and forests remind me of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The Forbidden Forest is kind of like the Lost Woods. Kakariko Village is Hogsmeade, essentially, with shops and secrets and stuff. And Hogwarts makes me think of Rare Lucaria's Academy or the Hyrule Castle, though here you actually live in it. It's like a city, which kind of makes up for the smaller size of the map. There is no hellish area or like a volcano, but there are the mines and the coastal region, and while there are seasons here that change the entire landscape, in other games you got designated areas with different climates. And you got lots of different enemies too, with similar numbers seen in Skyrim and Zelda Breath of the Wild, but Elden Ring will have the biggest variety here, because you essentially can kill anything that moves in the game, but world building of each of these titles doesn't end here, and I'll get back to that later. Another big part of RPGs is character creation, though not all of them actually let you create your avatar, like in Zelda Breath of the Wild or Shadow of War, and in Assassin's Creed Valhalla you only choose either female or male version. The rest offer incredible options where you can customize your character to the most minutiae details, but the customization doesn't end there. All of these games let you collect and equip all sorts of gear, which increase your character's stats, but more often it's about the looks. Like in Elden Ring, I oftentimes had to make some sacrifices in terms of gear stats simply because I liked a specific outfit. And in Hogwarts Legacy, I love the fact that you can swap the look of the outfit for any given stats, and I think this mechanic should be used more in other games as well. Aside from main quests, a huge part of open world RPGs is everything in between. And I think here Hogwarts Legacy runs a very direct parallel to Breath of the Wild. The Merlin Trials and the ancient magic pools are basically like those mini puzzles with Korok seeds. There's not too many, but still elaborate dungeons with multiple levels, puzzles, and some bosses there. And I feel like the shrines in Breath of the Wild are the repulsor rooms in Hogwarts Legacy, though they all got combined instead of being more spread out. And no matter what game you're playing, you will always face some sort of repetitiveness. Every game will have little camps with enemies, every game will have some puzzles to complete, little settlements with NPCs to interact with that ask you some very basic stuff. It's a matter of balance, which what I think Assassin's Creed lacks. It has way too many very bland side missions that just feel copy-pasted. But in terms of side quests in Hogwarts Legacy, I also see some similarity to Elden Ring, especially with Sebastian's story, because in both games there are deep storylines written for side characters that sometimes cross with main quests and outshine it in a way. One of the main differences here, though, is that unlike in most of these games, in Hogwarts Legacy, Valhalla, Shadow of War, you're very guided with these activities, where in others, everything is up for your discovery. But still, there is that sense of wonder while exploring the lands, especially when you turn off the HUD. The combat in Hogwarts Legacy is all through magic, duh. It's like they took the mage build from Elden Ring and made it into an entire game. Like some spells work similarly, but even with Zelda too, you don't necessarily call ancient technology magic, but it technically is, where Magnesis is basically Wingardium Leviosa. And even all the different arrows are the different spells, like ice arrows is Glacius, fire arrows is Confringo, bomb arrows is Bombarda, and Incendio is technically a fire sword. And that goes for Elden Ring too. So it's not really just range combat, there's a mix of both. And I'm not gonna go into details about the mechanics because I don't really care about that as long as the combat is fun. And I think it's super fun in Hogwarts Legacy. You get the same exhilaration like in Shadow of War or Elden Ring when using awesome spells, but it's more fast-paced than in other open-world RPGs, and the visual effects and the sound design really make it extra crisp. Well, except maybe Skyrim. The combat there sometimes feels a bit clunky. Of course, you can also be stealthy and a bit parkoury like in Assassin's Creed, or use different strategic weapons like Venomous Tentacula or Mandrake or Call a Storm to help you out. Those are the things I actually can't find comparison to. There's a bit of uniqueness. Difficulty-wise, I think Elden Ring and probably Skyrim would come as the most challenging ones, though. Skyrim again is because it's a bit stiff, but Hogwarts Legacy would sit somewhere between Zelda and Assassin's Creed. The character progression is pretty much the same in each of these games. You do stuff and you earn XP, and once you level up, you get skill points, which you use on certain skills/talents that allow you to branch out in different playstyles. With the exception of Sea of Thieves, where the talent tree is non-existent, and in Elden Ring you use runes to upgrade. While in a game like Skyrim, performing certain actions will slowly upgrade you towards a certain skill branch, and in Zelda the progression is locked in obtaining either hearts or stamina containers. In Hogwarts Legacy, leveling up increases your health and lets you equip stronger gear, which affect your different stats. Something that is seen across other games on this list too, again, with the exception of Sea of Thieves, where every single player is equal to their strengths. Loot, 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 and then loot some more. Loot isn't every single one of these games. You loot chests, you loot houses, you loot defeated enemies who drop coins, gear, outfits, etc. And sometimes it can get a little bit overwhelming, like in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Here in Hogwarts Legacy, the gear then becomes one of your main sources of income. Though my favorite approach is kind of like in Elden Ring and Skyrim. Not that you can literally loot anything and everything, but more that you can only get a specific loot in a specific location or from a specific enemy. See, it would be cool if, say, you go to Azkaban and find a chest with a ripped-up Dementor cloak, or if you go to Slytherin's secret chamber, you get his outfit or wand handle. Crafting is another essential part of these games where you gather necessary material and then craft or upgrade certain gear at its designated crafting stations. Cooking falls in this category too, and I love it how it's done in Zelda, where you can combine literally anything. Brewing potions is essentially cooking in Hogwarts Legacy, though I wish we had a bigger variety of ingredients and the ability to actually combine them in a cauldron to brew all kinds of potions. Score and sound design is a very important part of game development. It's what grounds you in its unique world and atmosphere, and I think each of these titles did an incredible job. Because take a listen. I'm sure you recognize each of these games by just hearing the little motives. Well, maybe not everyone's. I think Assassin's Creed tends to slip into a more bland score while exploring. And the same thing goes for the design and art style. Sometimes open-world RPGs can become a bit bland with their assets. Like every game has almost the same ruins or castle-like structures and the same open fields and forests. Still, each of these games manages to bring something unique about them, because when you look at these whimsical houses, these gigantic trees or crooked chimneys, you know that's Wizarding World. And out of all these titles, the level of detail in both Hogwarts Legacy and Elden Ring is just phenomenal. Story is one of the most important parts of video games, especially in this genre. It's what brings these worlds to life and makes you care about them. Each of these games has a unique way they tell their stories. While games like Assassin's Creed, Shadow of War, Hogwarts Legacy, and Zelda Breath of the Wild chose a more linear approach, others allowed more freedom of experience in the story on their own. Like in Elden Ring, where it's not told through narrative, but more through cryptic dialogue, item description, and focus on environmental storytelling. And I think specifically Breath of the Wild's and Skyrim's storylines are very similar to Hogwarts Legacy's. You know, like with us being the chosen one and having some special ability that makes us the key to defeating the calamity threatening a given world. But in Hogwarts Legacy, the story took a more dominant stage, which I really liked. It had some really great scenes and plot twists. It made me feel that eagerness to learn what happens next. The same feeling I had when reading Harry Potter books. I believe there are two types of replay value. objective and subjective. Where objective is when a game has actual differences when making different choices at the start or during the game, and subjective is just preference. You know, like there are games that I've played hundreds of times, and each of the playthrough was exactly the same as the last one. I just like the game. And while I can't really speak on the subjective part, objectively speaking, each of these games has some type of replay value. For instance, in Hogwarts Legacy, you can choose a different house with different common rooms and have a unique little quest related to that house, or in different playthroughs, you can choose different dialogue options. In Zelda, you can switch up the order in which you do the Divine Beasts and see if that spices things up for you. But two games really stand out here in the objective part, Elden Ring and Skyrim. In each of these games, you have a choice of selecting various different builds of the character, and during the game, you can make very crucial choices that will make you fight for one cause or the other, or in some cases deter side story progression completely, sometimes by accidentally killing the wrong NPC or even just choosing a specific line of dialogue. There's also DLCs, which we've seen with every single title here, and I believe there's a great chance we will see that in Hogwarts Legacy too. But still, I believe the drive of the replay value is mostly subjective, and when there is at least some part of the objective, it just really helps it. Before we get to the last part, here's a few other differences and similarities that didn't make it into their own categories. Many games on this list, with exception of Elden Ring, offer some form of base building, which I think is very cool feature. Similar to Skyrim and Zelda, you can get your own house and add furniture in it. In Shadow of War, you get some options to customize your fortress. In Sea of Thieves, your ship is basically your base. Valhalla lets you build an entire village. And in Hogwarts Legacy, you get, I believe, the best options for your base building. Yes, it's not Animal Crossing or The Sims, but I have to say it kind of gets close to that. While the majority of these titles offer some form of multiplayer, Hogwarts Legacy and Zelda are both strictly single-player games, though there is a chance online features might get added officially or through mods. And it's hard not to point out the fact the way you traverse in Hogwarts Legacy, it's just so unique. While you can fly in Zelda and Shadow of War for a brief period, it is not even close to how satisfying it is in Hogwarts Legacy. Though, Hogwarts Legacy and Shadow of War are the only two games where you cannot sit. And here I go back a little bit to that world building. Each of these games has an elaborate universe which works by different laws. Each has its own unique lore, heroes, villains, and environments. It's what attracts you towards one or the other title. A chance to immerse yourself into a specific fantasy. Just like without Hogwarts and casting spells from a wand or flying on a broom, there's no Hogwarts Legacy. There's no Elden Ring without its bizarre world and insanely difficult bosses. Or there's no Zelda without Link and the constant challenges Ganon brings on Hyrule. So, as you can see, after comparing these titles in 10 categories, all these games share a similar basic structure of an open-world RPG, but they all take a few different approaches in certain categories, while showing strength in one aspect and undermining in others. And the same thing goes for Hogwarts Legacy. It brings magic in a whole new perspective and allows the player to immerse themselves in a unique, detailed world, while offering new tools and mechanics unseen in other titles. While there is room for improvements, I think it is a solid open-world RPG that stands tall among all the other great titles of the genre. Of course, didn't mention many other titles that should have been in the list, but these are the ones I played and am very familiar with. But hey, if you know other great open world RPGs, let me know. I'm a gamer and always love to play new games and talk about them. That's why I make these videos. And by the way, on the screen you can see other videos for you to check out. As always, click the like button. It really helps out the channel, and subscribe for more content like this. Catch you guys later.